Good morning. I'm Canon Lisa, and that reading we've just heard, I think it's really quite sad. It's certainly not an easy one. You see, it takes us to the reality of some of Jesus's life. It takes us away from the crowds, it takes us away from the miracles, the stories we like to hear, puts us instead with him on a journey. He's going from Galilee, his home, down to Jerusalem, where eventually he will suffer and die. And on the way, on this journey, he's going through a Samaritan town, and they won't receive him. They won't give him hospitality. It's very sad. They reject him. It makes me think that a lot of the gospel is about movement. It's not about settling down and following Jesus. It's moving and following Jesus. And in this particular instance, just think of what those Samaritans missed out on. Okay, he wasn't going to serve their purpose. He wasn't there for their agenda. He hadn't come specifically for them. They may have even thought that that was in some way rejecting of them. But in fact, they missed out on having him for a night. The Son of God was in their town. They could have done so much, but instead, well, if you're a migrant, if you are someone who moves house every now and then, if you've ever felt rejected by strangers, you know what Jesus felt that day. Very sad. In the next part of our talk, I'm going to look at the remainder of the passage when Jesus was on the road and the people that he met. Welcome back again. Now, I'm going to go on the move and ask you to come with me and imagine that you are with Jesus and he's walking along the road. And as he does, he's meeting people. All sorts of people travel the same road as him. And he's also still recruiting. The first one comes up to him and says, "Jesus, I will follow you wherever you go." Wow, you'd think that was a good one. But I think this is where Jesus looks into his eyes. He says, "Foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." And I think he's realised that this guy wants to just belong and be part of the group. And that sort of person really needs stability and doesn't need to be moving around all the time. So he says no to that one. And then there's the second one. And this is somebody Jesus goes to and says to him, "You follow me." And the man said, "Sure, I will." But this isn't the same as that time by Galilee when the young men dropped their nets and just followed Jesus. This man says, "Just first let me go home and live my life, and then when my father has died and I have buried him, then when old age knocks and pressures me, that's when I'll come and follow you." "No," says Jesus, "go now and proclaim the message, spread the word." We don't know if he did, but I think not. And then there's the third one. Maybe this one will work. This person says, "I will follow you, Lord." Now that's a good sign when somebody says Lord to Jesus. "I will follow you, but first let me go and say goodbye to all my family." Oh dear. Even at the outset, he's saying, "You will work to my agenda. Just wait a bit while I go and say goodbye." But Jesus is going to Jerusalem and he has to lead the way. And they're going now. Also, if he keeps going back to his family, then he is going to give them much more opportunity to persuade him not to follow Jesus. So Jesus probably does not accept him in the group either. And so he goes on, rejected, but determined, with those who have put their hand to the plough and are ploughing a straight furrow all the way to the end, with Jesus.